So basically, when we're talking about learning, we have resources where you can go and study. We have also what we refer to as the Pico Primer. Um, I think guys, you're going to forgive my internet; it's quite fast. Yeah. So with the Pico Primer, basically this gives you a walkthrough around what you would look at as how to use the shell, forensics, how to program in Python, and then also you look at web exploits, cryptography, network sniffing, also machine learning, basically x86, and then also you look at maybe like how to write in C, the structure of C scripts, and then of course you go ahead to understand binary exploitation and then also maybe registers. So the Pico Primer basically guides you in order to understand how to attempt most of the solutions that are basically um, that you're going to find at the Pico gene. So, for example, you get to realize we're just going to go through quick. You got to realize what we call a shell, basically the terminal that you normally look at whenever you're accessing, and this is how the terminal definitely looks like. I think even on my machine, I think you can see basically how the Kali terminal looks like. So when you go to the Pico Primer, it gives you basically a breakdown of the introduction to do how basically how CTFs are set up and the different challenges. So at the Pico gym, you can go to what we look at as practice. And at the practice side is where you find the different challenges basically that are hosted on the uh, on the Pico CTF platform. These most of these are already archived challenges. Basically, they were in competitions over the course of the different years, and now definitely they're just being kept here to help you train, so that once you train, you can definitely be able to learn some new skills and also be able to definitely advance your problem solving skills. For me, in my experience, I believe that cybersecurity is mainly a problem solving um, kind of like career, because you get to realize that most of the times you can be faced with a problem that you actually have no idea about. So the main thing that, of course, you normally have to do down is sit down, process the information that you're being given, and try and ensure that you grasp as much as you can. Maybe when you're interacting with a specific solution or whatever you're interacting with, and learn as much as you can, and then try to work backwards to find the solution to the problem, which is basically the job, even at any one domain, whether it's forensics, whether it's exploit development, or etc. So basically, all these challenges are here to test the different skills that you can have. So the platform gives you the ability to be able to differentiate whether you only want to focus on web challenges, whether you want to focus on all difficulty levels, easy, medium, hard. So you could just say, for example, you want to pick an easy challenge, web challenge, and this is basically how you'd interact with the platform. So all these are different ways that you can interact with the platform. So when you're asked, for example, what do you do? This is basically the explanation of how we get into CTFs and why you should actually get yourself involved in CTFs. Because most times people are like, how do I get started? Personally, for me, I've been doing CTFs for over 7 years, and it's been interesting because now when you look at the experience that you gain over time, you realize that most of the things that are what you look at as like the brain muscle is something that, of course, you have grown from definitely involving yourself in the different communities and also being engaged in multiple CTFs. So, just to give you an introduction, Pico CTF is not like the only CTF platform. We have what we call, we definitely have what we call CTF time. If
Kugenda
you're a
kubaako
senior
ng'oluggi
CTF
lw'eggati
person,
kubanga obunyizi
so we have ctftime.org. You guys are forgive I have a very bad keyboard. So we have ctftime.org. So if you're, for example, saying, okay, my Pico Ctf is so soft for me. Personally, for me, what I did back in the day was I came to, of course, this is how basically some of us have been participating over the years. I think I participated from all the way from like 2017. So you find that this is basically the mapping of the different cybersecurity CTF teams, basically, that compete in different CTFs across the world. And you can join up, of course, you can log in, sign up, join up with a team, have the different people within your team compete. Basically, you can look at what is coming on the calendar, upcoming events, and then you're able to, for example, plan what CTFs are coming in. If you're someone who is like so much into syncing your calendar with this, like for example me, you could just get this ICS file, upload it onto maybe your Google, your personal calendar, and sync them so that every weekend, at least in your personal calendar, you know that, okay, maybe this weekend, like for example, as we're seeing here, right now is the 24th, we have Remedy CTF and all these CTFs that are going to be happening between 24th all the way to 27th at Has Code Fest. So you can be able to say, okay, I want to train. So you can always follow up the current CTFs which are ongoing. But one thing you need to know that there are difficulty levels to almost all these CTFs. And that's why we have, for example, what we call the rating and the difficulty basically of some of these CTFs. So you don't want to be discouraged on your first start, because sometimes you find that as you definitely pick up some challenges, you can find that, okay, some CTF is quite so hard for you to do, and you may get discouraged. So what you can normally do, like for example, if you find like a CTF that may be saying X3 CTFs, you can always just, this is 2025, so you can always follow up and see, okay, for example, what CTF did 2024, what CTF was run, what challenges did they have. You read through you go and read through their write-ups, because you see, like for example here, for every CTF that happens, people write basically their different write-ups. They present them here for the different challenges that they do. And you can just come here, interact with the write-up, understand how maybe a specific user was able to solve a specific problem. And that's how basically you learn new skills. Because you can go into a competition and you realize that you have no idea about a specific topic. And then all you have to do is, okay, for example, the CTF gets done, you go back and say, okay, for example, how was the server and attack IP found? Then you read through someone's research. Even if you're able to solve an issue, you can always go through and work, for example, and say, I solved it basically from ABC. The answer maybe was D, but you find that maybe someone solved XYZ to D. So you need to understand different methodology to achieve the problem, because as I said, most of the things around the job is majorly looking at how do you solve a problem, how fast do you solve a problem, how efficient are you. Now, for me, one of my favorites also, when I put it out there, will be basically this one is something that I personally recommend, because it's something I've also been doing for the last, this one I think I've been doing for the last 4 years, from I think about 2021. So Pawn College is for me also one of the platforms that I use a lot. This one you can see basically, this is Pawn College. Pawn College is basically, it's a platform that's hosted by the Arizona State University computer science class. And these guys are basically giving out free cybersecurity skills for you if you're able to basically come here and interact with their platform. You get to learn, for example, basics into how to get started, how to use Linux. Basically, this is an advanced Linux training class. I don't think even the material at OFSEC, at the OECP training would beat this at a Linux level. And then you also find, for example, you have computing. Basically, this one teaches you the basics around assembly, how to write assembler, C programs, and also maybe how to basically compile and also exploit low-level memory, basically registers and all that. So you learn to interact with different programs, and then of course now this is basically now where the cooking is, where you start to learn actual cybersecurity stuff. Basically, you're looking at web server development, exploitation, cryptography, access control. All these are basically embedded in these different things. And they, of course, even have the ability to, when you're able to achieve, basically, like when you're able to achieve, like for example, if you're able to I always tell people this, if you're able to reach this level, and if you're able to reach this level as an East African student, within our education system, if you're able to reach this level, trust me, you'll probably be able to work in a firm like the elite level kind of organizations that we're basically looking at, because the amount of work that you need to put in to be to reach this level is probably like 2 good years of actual low level hacking. And this is not the hacking that you guys are seeing on basically on your platforms, that mostly write-ups that guys talk about. This is low level stuff, and this is basically goes all the way to the kernel. So basically for me, normally what I do is I follow up with their classes. We have, for example, the different classes. Right now there's a Spring CS365 going on, and normally for me, every year I follow the top 3. So this last year was 4. So you pick up basically this is introduction to computer science, and this is basically introduction to cybersecurity. This is an advanced module, and then this is quite the advanced module. This is the one that leads to the blue belt. So if you're able to go through this, even if you come out of because it's a 5-month program, if you come out with a C, basically trust me, you will be well sharpened to actually start writing your own exploits. Of course, I would look at it from a level of most of the challenges that you basically meet at the CTF level. So all the way from the CTF, from the Pico Ctf, we have tried to engage and show you, of course, more advanced areas that you can look at, that can give you visibility onto what skills that you can definitely build onto yourself as an individual. I had no plans of actually working through so many challenges, because I believe last year we focused, this is basically, we're going to definitely pick up around solving some of the challenges, but I wanted to use this session to basically inspire and also show you people that, one, you need to realize that there is so much untapped information that you could use to your advantage. You may not be able to maybe pay for I don't know what you'd look at it like, maybe like very expensive certificate, because security is quite expensive to study at the latest level, because things keep growing. Whatever all the exploits that you probably knew about are probably patched. People are researching, and once they have like very good research, normally they sell this research in terms of like advanced courses, and they're quite expensive. So to be able to at least communicate with people at a technical level, you need to be able to break down the small things that you would at least pick up when you're interacting with some of these trainings. Then I think another one that I really recommend for basically, I'm sharing from my personal journey, guys. It's something that I think we also have cyber talents. I think this one, cyber talents, was one of like the African platforms that we literally used back then when we were growing up, and oh my, I'm still waiting for people to definitely knock me off that one. And then also we have CTF room, guys. We have CTF room. I cannot end this without talking about CTF room. CTF room is also one of our very, very good platforms built by our own. This is John's, my friend, and this is from our guys in Kenya. And this is a very, very, very beautiful platform also to train from, because the beauty about this is you actually get to meet community people, you get to interact with people who are also at your level, trying to ensure that one, where they're helping you, you're learning. And basically, I don't need to teach you how to register. You just need to know that, okay, where if I wanted to play around with challenges that have been, that basically that you could easily access the author of a challenge. These are the platforms basically you go out with. This is one of my, it's really highly recommended, because the quality of vaults that they produce is quite nice. And also, of course, they have weekly sessions that they normally do. And these ones, of course, you can go through their sessions as the different experts speak through the vaults and explain how the different vaults were done. Then, of course, we have platforms that, of course, we look at that, that you look at as the ones that we look at, like Hack the Box. Hack the Box also. Hack the Box is also a nice platform. A nice platform, yeah, where we can, of course, we have different machines. You get to learn. You have challenges basically, and also these challenges that you can use them to basically skill up. Though, of course, you may be required to upgrade things like that, but you can come here, look at these different challenges, pick them out, look at what is retired. You can pay a subscription that's just not so expensive, probably like 80,000 at the UG level, and be able to actually train. So with Pico, majorly, why I brought all this is basically to give you the insight that it's not just, we're not just doing this from a point of like selling the idea of Pico to you. The whole thing you need to understand is that the problem, the way you solve a problem probably that you meet at the Pico gym, you could probably learn a new skill from the different CTFs CTF platforms that are out there. So all you have to do is, for example, be able to incorporate that knowledge into your own methodology. Because, for example, if it's web, if it's crypto, everyone has their own methodology. The main thing is basically going through how you work on it. So with Pico, we can try and maybe interact with one challenge. When you go to the Pico gym, we have, I think, an easy challenge here that says inspect the HTML. Ideally, this is how basically the challenge starts. You can launch your instance. Basically, what happens is it starts to launch an instance, and you wait. So once the instance is basically, go to this website and see what you can discover. So once you open up our instance, basically Saturn, the Pico Ctf in this specific port, we're seeing that, however, I don't know this one. It's quite on. I don't know. It's quite tough to explain. Basically, you look at what the challenge is telling you, and you go, of course, ahead and you definitely try and solve it. So in this case, we're looking at inspected HTML. It's very direct. It's something that is so obvious. You could always just go and view source, and then from there you can see that, okay, there's actually a flag here. So all you have to do is pick your flag, and then you take it, of course, and submit it on the platform. And with that, you basically have you would have solved the problem at that point. So in this case, you notice that it says that you've solved the problem, but basically, what has this challenge taught you? Basically, it has taught you that, okay, sometimes what you see is not actually what's there, because when you look at this page, you're not able to see what's actually happening. But when you try to view the source, you realize that there's actually some hidden text that is basically on the HTML in form of a comment. So that's how you can approach maybe a web challenge. You can go into all these and test what they basically want by just, of course, going through them. So in order for you to be able to learn this, maybe it's, for example, as a user who is interested, as I said, one of the things you need to realize is the importance of having the primer. The primer basically guides you on how to go through this. So, for example, as we looked at, for example, web exploits right now, we just looked at, it explains to you how we delve into setting up a web page, and you can see here, and basically also shows you how to basically go around these things. These are things that you can learn on your own free time. You don't need someone to tell you that, okay, no, these are basically, that's why I tell you guys, like, cybersecurity is, it's a field where you have to sit down and dedicate your own hours as an individual, because no one is going to come and tell you that, okay, this is the meaning of this of what, this is an image. No one is going to come and tell you that this is how you do it. This is how you do this. No, you have to sit down. You have to try and understand something. When you fail, you go and research. Once you fail and you research, and then, for example, like the community we're in, if you're like, okay, I've reached a point where my knowledge has hit the wall, then you can explore the option of making inquiries to your fellow peers, because you find that there are people who are very knowledgeable within different domains, but someone will not want to start explaining to you the basics, the fundamentals of basically how maybe a web server works. Those are things that you would probably be expecting someone at least to have some knowledge around. And definitely the conversation now you're going to be picking up is something that, okay, I have done something and I want you to add some more value onto what I currently have, so that I can be able to solve the problem. So with that, basically, that is just a summary of how you basically will be starting out with Pico. So as an individual, if you're a learner, you're going to ask yourself, for example, okay, now I have seen where the Pico CTF is. How do I get started? As I said, it's very simple. Ensure that you have access to the Pico primer. The Pico primer will take you how you implement shell, how you probably do some forensics challenges. In this case, as I showed you, how you initiate the different challenges. Then also maybe there's something that you probably need to know, a functionality that we call the web shell. The web shell is basically just an extension. This web shell here, it's an extension that allows you, if, for example, in a scenario where you don't have access to like maybe say a Linux-based OS, you find that this web shell is the one that you can use to interact with these challenges. It can teach you on the basics of maybe how to use Linux, how to do this, how to do that, and basically that's how you would start. That is how you would make advantage of the web shell. And this is basically what the primer in this case looks at, explaining the importance of a shell, how to use it, how to use the different commands. Basically, for example, how to change directory, how to print a working directory, how to make a directory. These are things that you basically have to learn as you try to interact with the shell. So with that, I want to say basically that is the most basic introduction to CTFs. And this is basically what we have all looked at as how we interact from a point of like as a noob. If you're saying that, for example, you come and say, oh my God, this stuff is so easy, I understand this stuff, this guy has wasted my time. Well, I can probably give you some areas that could actually put you out there. So, for example, if you feel like, for example, that you're really becoming good, there's some things that you can actually go and try and start trying out, because this will now be testing your actual skills over time. There's something that I normally yearly that I try to ensure that I engage myself in. There are Google CTFs, there are Meta CTFs, there are Kaspersky CTFs. Most of these, like for example, the Cyber CTF, all these are all now available. Even they also they are also available now on CTF time. So, for example, in this case, the code breaker, NSA code breaker is something that, for example, people who are passionate about reverse engineering and basically want to get to learn some more, you can definitely come and pick up some old challenges here, learn through some old skills that basically have been documented, and these ones go all the way up to like 2013 there, if I'm right, 14, and like 2013 all the way. These things are basically, they test the latest technologies, they test your skills, understanding the different techniques for solving problems. And basically now, this is now, as I say, this is now how you start to realize that, okay, you started from all the way from Pico, and you find that you're now getting yourself into much more advanced techniques. but there are different platforms that gauge the strength and the difficulty that you're learning. And in all this, one thing you should know is that as you go into harder platforms, know that one, your skills are improving, and that you should know that you cannot know everything, because most times the people who feel like, okay, you're afraid to, for example, put yourself in a position whereby you don't want to fail. But the more you put yourself into a position that you fail, basically this is how you get to learn more. So I don't know if you guys have any questions. Basically, this was just an introductory session. And from this point onwards up to the end of the year, we shall be definitely only having technical sessions, majorly to showcase maybe solving some problems, and then also maybe on the Uganda platform, if there are some discussions that probably people want to engage in. It may not basically be CTF related, but we enforce that we have to get through areas where we try to grow basically that muscle memory to be able to solve most of the advanced challenges, because you need to at least have a solid foundation to be able to go forward definitely in the career. For me, I definitely recommend anyone who wants to. This is something that I highly recommend, because by the time, if for example you came in through and you walk through all this bit, I don't think we'd even need to walk you through most of the things that majorly we shall be studying at a fundamental level. Or you could basically come and say, I'm interested in, upon college, you come and get yourself introduced into the cybersecurity module. You, of course, get to learn a few things, as I told you: web security, interceptions, cryptography, access control, as you could see. And all these are hands-on. These are all hands-on, and basically they test your knowledge around these domains. And trust me, by the time you're basically done with this, you definitely are going to be on the path of becoming someone who is really technically equipped. And most of the things that you would probably need will be more just advancing on your technical skills. So with this, if you guys have any questions for me, I would definitely be willing to answer. Otherwise I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take some questions. Thank you, guys. Okay, how often do you carry out these sessions? Definitely. We plan to do this every Friday. Before at least we try and cool off, because at least just personally I use this to steam off the week after a long week. And we hope we can do as many as we can. Last year we kind of fell off because also the consistency within the different people who are supposed to be onboarded in the program was quite, the turn up was low, and we definitely just went back to physical meets for the people who could meet up. But I hope definitely if we're all together this year, we should be able to at least push and ensure that we train as many people as we can. So guys, these are free sessions. No one is paying anything. Just try to give back to the community. So any other questions? I think, hi George, I think you would definitely reach out to Joel. Personally, don't give out my contact, but you can, I can just share my email. Joel, you can reach out to Joel, then we can try and see how to engage, how to probably see how we can support. Yeah, so any other questions that we have? Did I maybe, is there anything, maybe someone wants to add on? Did I miss anything? Okay, guys, I appreciate your time. I know it's a Friday, and one thing I remember, growing up, or basically getting the field. Back then, when we started, I had no work, I think, and we would spend basically about 17 hours. I remember we spent about 17 hours in a call with some friends of mine. and people were just getting on the call, getting off, getting off, getting off. We're solving some very hardcore problem. Um, that was about like 4 years, 5 years back. And most of these guys currently, everyone is almost like they are all like working in very, very big organizations. And the amount of dedication and time that everyone put in kind of blew my mind when I look at how much time people put in nowadays into trying to learn this stuff. So by the time you hear, know that at least you've taken the big step to actually try and push yourself, but don't try and get lazy because the, the skills that you learn probably now, and if you learn something today, doesn't mean that you will know it by the end of the month because you could be having a technique that's probably going to get obsolete. So you need to practice, set up maybe a personal lab, have a group of friends that try to motivate you because that's one of the things that personally I have, and I feel like it does work. So Emilio asks, what's the difference between CTFs and bug bounty? Of course, CTFs is groundwork. CTF is what we look at as the groundwork, the training to get to a level that you want to do. You see, most of the skills that we get are acquired through doing stuff. Trust me, for example, if you dumped into a bug bounty program, bug bounty basically is where researchers go to maybe a specific handler. In this case, it could be, for example, HackerOne, BugCrowd. These are platforms that definitely um, negotiate bounties on behalf of organizations. So organizations give them different domains or whatever applications or etc. whatever they have, so that they can test the security of these. And then they hire researchers who come in, and these researchers come in and, of course, test the different applications for vulnerabilities and things like that. And once they're able to do that, they definitely get some money out of it. So you get to realize that you're going to be competing with like the elite hackers like across the world, most of these platforms. And without the basic skills, you're going to be spending hours, months looking for low vulnerabilities that people will just be walking through. And basically, by the time even those things are implemented there, most of the vulnerability that you expect to find, you will not be there. And the reason why I recommend always starting out with CTS is that to avoid disappointment, because imagine you spent maybe say 2 years in a bug bounty program and you did not get anything. You will definitely have learned a lot, maybe from reading through the different write-ups, but then you will not have a solid understanding on the concepts at the low level. So CTFs are quite, for me, as I told them, I look at them as the groundwork. You can do your CTFs, but if you want bug bounty programs, you can always definitely look at the bug bounty programs for monetary gain. But CTFs also have prizes that you can win. There are certain CTFs that, for example, have cash prizes. There are CTFs that have certificates that basically you can win. I remember I got actually my first training was from a CTF competition where I had to get some access to quite some malware development platform under Sector 7, and that was quite, for me, it was a big step because I got it from a CTF. I don't think I would have gotten it from a bug bounty program, because when you look at, you have knowledge in networking, Python, can I attend the sessions too? Of course, these sessions are for everyone. You can always feel free to ask, whether it's advanced questions, moderate questions, easy questions. The whole idea is to ensure that we accommodate everyone. You may have the knowledge in networking. They will ask you, okay, for example, can you help us do something? Definitely, we shall be wanting also to enjoy from your expertise. And I would definitely appreciate if you could attend. So Diana, thank you. Yeah, we are also happy to be here. And so Florence, you asking about requesting if you can attend sessions. Okay, that would be something that we have to work on, because most of the team, I think everyone in the team works. So it's basically, as I said, it's a community thing that we are trying to give back, and also, of course, try to ensure that we try and keep up and motivate everyone. So for school, I think under Pico Ctf, we try and support schools majorly. I think that's something that we can raise with Joel. And if you, for example, have schools that you want us to reach out to, you could definitely reach out to Joel. And yeah, during our runs for the Pico Ctf, if we find that they're eligible and the count is probably good, we can definitely try and also maybe reach out to your schools. Then, how fair or harsh is the job market for a junior role, especially in our country? Um, whew. Okay, I don't like talking about employment. Personally, for me, I don't think I would employ someone who is not good, because there's a tendency, I think, in the market. Personal opinion here, disclaimer. I basically speak for myself. Um, I think the market is saturated with too much of too many people who talk and don't really understand what they're doing. And it's unfortunate, of course, because these are, of course, the market leaders that we have, the big people, the guys that are leading the different organizations. But that's basically what we are stuck with. So I would, as I said, for me personally, I don't look at the walkthrough that I've just showed you in terms of where you can train, how to grow your skills. You should not be looking at just basically the Ugandan market, because with these skills, as I told you, if, for example, you're able to achieve a blue belt status under maybe say, for example, Pond College, you could be eligible basically to even apply for a research fellowship for 6 months at least via the Arizona State University. So there are things that you probably just go to discover on your journey. But in the Ugandan market, trust me, if you definitely stick with us through the trainings, also get as active as possible and engage yourself, I think probably you'll get to appreciate that maybe at the end of the year you'll not be a junior, you'll probably be a moderate scholar. And yeah, you get to realize that you could easily fit in an organization that basically can appreciate your skill set. So one of the major things I think in the group we highlighted was the importance of networking. Get to know, of course, who is who, what do they do, maybe how do I interact with them, how do I get access to them. Sometimes the people who it's very difficult to access them. But of course, if someone even gives you even 30 minutes of their time after a very harsh work week, you get to appreciate and realize that, okay, maybe you may be asking for too much, but even the 30 minutes, it's basically free advice. It's basically just encouragement. It's basically trying to motivate you to try and see that also you can also get to the level that basically we want everyone to be. So the job market is quite harsh, because I think the most accommodating field probably would be the financial side. Financial institutions, I think, are fairly more in need of cybersecurity professionals. But also we have, of course, the different, there's so many domains within cybersecurity. Yeah? There is, of course, the offensive side, defensive side, and of course, also there's consultancy that, of course, I normally don't put up, but I'd look at that as something that you'd look at from a point of experience. So those are basically the places you look at. But I know for a fact that most of the recruitment on the security side locally is done by headhunting. So as I said, the major thing is be good, do you, and put in the work. Everything else will align as long as you're able to shine. So that's it. So Modi, I think you're the last chat on this. I've tried to answer everyone. I've tried to at least follow up. Guys, it's basically, as I said, giving back, and yeah, I appreciate all your efforts and also the time that you put in here. It's not a joke to be here, and yeah, I hope definitely as we get into more sessions, we shall be able to relate more and yeah, and share knowledge. So over to you, Joel. Yeah, guys, thanks for your time. Over to Joel. I think Joel has dozed off. So I probably would like to close the meeting. For any,
I'm actually on.
You're awake, bro. Feel free to pick up.
No, I was just okay. Thank you everyone that was able to attend this session, and just wanted to remind you that of the questions in the chat, but you've answered them, and others have been answering them in the chat. The session is recorded. I think I'll share the link later on. But for those who want to join the community, the group is everywhere, and even on the poster there is a link you can join. Even in the group, in the chat, I've just shared the link to the WhatsApp group. Keep joining. We are learning. We intend to have 2 sessions: one for the beginner-friendly ones, the ones for the newbies, the beginners, and one for intermediates, so that we have a balance of the community. So please, you have to register, and so that we can proceed with the sessions each and every time. Maybe physically, Pico Ctf and Style Africa are coming to Uganda, so we expect them to visit some universities and schools. I told you people, if at all you want us to come to your university or high school, we shall be visiting high schools and universities. So in this case, if at all you have a high school in mind, you want us to visit and train young kids how cybersecurity is, the landscape, the categories, everything, and how to take part into the competition, you can reach out to me. I've shared the number in the chat, or you can ask in the group also, so that we can have some physical sessions. For any other questions, you're going to toss them in the group, and then we shall be answering them in time. We always share opportunities, we always share trainings. Everything we do is free of charge, and trust me, we don't ask any penny for everything we are doing. So our goal is to grow our information security community around here in the country, and we have partnered with a lot of people from different East Africa, West Africa, and beyond, so that we can bring to you experts that to give you some knowledge and sessions. So with those, I think let's call it a night. I wish everyone a very good weekend. We meet next week. Thank you very much. Thank you, Peter, also for the session. Thank you.
Adios. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers.